Hi guys and welcome back to Lexalexus. It is more score predictions. We've made it to Thursday already. We are predicting week 3 and the games are going to be spread across tomorrow and Saturday. So there's lots to still cover. I'm going to give you my thoughts and reaction to the previous 12 games. And across all of that, I will be predicting the upcoming 12 games in the Championship. If you guys want to be involved in the prediction league, you just leave your comments with your predictions in the comments down below of this video. And I will be totting up these points as quickly as I can. And I think I'll give you guys an update when we have our international break, which will be starting next week. So it's not far away actually when there will be a break from football. As always, support on this series is amazing. Please like, share and subscribe. It really does help the growth of this channel. If we can set 50 likes as a target, that would be absolutely amazing. The subscriber getting the shout out today is Danny. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. If you guys do subscribe to the channel, it is very likely that your name will be read out in the next video. But without any further ado, let's give you my predictions for week 3. We start things off with tomorrow's game with Derby facing Bristol City. Derby going into this game under a little bit of pressure this season. They have conceded 8 goals already from their first 2 games. If you do the maths, that's averaging 4 goals a game. Going forward, they look okay, Derby. They managed to put 3 past Coventry. But the wrong part of it is that they conceded 5. And the defence partnership of Danny Batth and Dion Sanderson does not look convincing. And if that is going to be the partnership that will be used going into this game, I dread to think what Bristol City can do. If you cast your minds back to game week 1, they completely demolished Sheffield Utd, where their defence was really out of sorts as well. So I do have a fear for Derby going into this game. They've certainly not started in the way that I expected them to. And the goals and the amount of goals conceded is very unlike John Eustace. It does feel very bizarre what's going on in the moment. But I will make a note that Derby do have a lot of injuries to deal with. So I do sympathise a little bit with them going into this. And I think once those injuries start coming back, I think results will improve for Derby. I wouldn't say that this is going to signal any panic. Bristol City, they lost their 100% streak because they failed to beat Charlton at home. And Charlton were going to treat this game very differently. They were going to sit back and allow Bristol City to try and break them down. They couldn't in the end. I think that game certainly lacked a little bit of quality for me. This one I think will be a lot more open. I see a lot more goals in this game. And as a prediction, I think with the individual quality that you see from the likes of Scott Twine, who is absolutely brutal with set pieces, free kicks especially, I think Bristol City could win this game. I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory to the Cider Army here. And that will mean 3 defeats in a row for Derby County. Let me know what you think in the comments. Next we start commencing with the early Saturday games. Let's start off with Charlton against Leicester. This is intriguing. Charlton are finding themselves with 4 points in their opening 2 games. Back-to-back clean sheets, no goals conceded as of now. And I felt this was very predictable that Nathan Jones was going to keep Charlton, impenetrable. And I think he will be trying to do that as long as possible. But I would say this is their biggest test so far. Now, Leicester were poor against Preston. They deservedly lost by 2-1. Yes, they had individual quality where they had moments of it. But as a team, there is certainly a lack of cohesiveness at this moment. But what I see in this game, Nathan Jones, I think, will similarly try and shut up shop. I think that could potentially backfire if they're not careful and Charlton do not take chances themselves. Yeah, only 1 goal for Charlton so far in this season. So maybe a lack of goals could be a bit of a concern for them. But I see Leicester having the individual ability of being able to get a goal. But my question is, can Leicester defend a rally from Charlton if they chase for an equaliser? Defensively, I don't think so. I think they've been quite suspect at the back. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I can't really decide the outcome between these two sides, so I'll go for a result that cancels each other out. Next up, we see Hull going up against Blackburn. Hull have picked up 4 points so far this season. It's been a decent start from them and Sergej Jakirovic. So they had a bonkers couple of games, and it could not be any more different from their opening game of the season, where they really looked shy of goals but defensively looked quite organised. In the game against Wrexham, it ended 3-3 in the Carabao Cup, and then most recently they played a 5-goal thriller, a last-minute goal from Ollie McBurney to give Hull all 3 points. I mean, what a game he had, by the way. 3 goal contributions in that game. He certainly is the difference of their attack at this moment of time. So I'm quite actually excited to see Hull play now, because I feel that there's his openness, but I just don't know what happened to the defending. It's like they've completely ditched the point to defend and are now trying to attack, but it could just be as a result of what happens when Hull try and go out to attack. Blackburn, I don't think have started, they've started terribly in terms of points, but in terms of performances, I don't think that matches it. West Brom, I felt like any team could have won it. There was a lack of quality within that game. Probably West Brom just being a bit more favourable with their possession. And then against Birmingham, they did take the lead with a moment of quality from Todd Cantwell. And they were 10 minutes away from winning that game before they slid and lost all 3 points in the manner that they did. It was very cruel the way that they did. So I think this game is an opportunity for Blackburn to try and get something here. But this attack that Hull have shown, especially recently, I don't think I could ignore that. I think Hull will be the favourites with them being at home. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Hull. If you remember, Hull's home form hasn't been great, but the fact that they already won their first home game under Jakirovic, perhaps that's an area they're going to turn around this season. Yeah, I'll go for a narrow 2-1 win to Hull. I think Blackburn will make it competitive, but I think Hull will take the game away from them. The last half 12 game sees Swansea going up against Watford. This one again I think is a little bit tricky, but both sides picked up wins, and I was going to say clean sheets, but that's not quite the case. But both teams managed to pick up wins in their last game. Swansea managed to beat Sheffield Utd by 1-0, a great response after being really poor against Middlesbrough in terms of a creating point of view. And I still think goals could be a bit of an issue for Swansea, but I am a little bit excited with their transfer activity. They are certainly strengthening key areas, including the midfield area, and actually getting loads of defensive depth, which is great. Watford, I think we saw a glimpse of what they could do if they managed to beat Queen's Park Rangers at home. Kierkegaard being the main man there, scoring 2 goals. And I think he's someone, if you provide service, he will be a nightmare to deal with in the Championship. Problem here is I've not yet to be convinced with Watford on the road. And I do think Kierkegaard could have a lack of service, because Swansea defensively have been really, really strong so far. And I think Watford will find it difficult to create. Swansea, I think, are more likely to create themselves with them being at home. This is a tough one. I don't see many goals in this game. And it has the feeling that 1 goal will edge it. As a prediction, I think I'll go for a 1-0 victory to Swansea. I don't see many goals, but I favour Swansea to get the goal that will edge it in the end, with the fact that it's home form and just defensively they look really, really solid. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now we need to the 3 o'clocks, and I think all of these other games are all 3 o'clock kickoffs actually, so that's going to make the 3 o'clock quite crazy to keep up with. So Birmingham face Oxford. Gary Rowett, of course, is returning to the club. He once managed and unfortunately took down to League One. Not entirely his fault, I will add for context. but it's quite a significant reunion there. Birmingham have managed to start themselves in winning ways and managed to get their first win against Blackburn, albeit in very, very dramatic circumstances. And I still think we are still waiting to see the best from Birmingham. But this could be a decent time to play them where the squad's not quite there and clicking into gear. I think especially going forward, they are not quite as free-flowing as I was going to expect for them with the transfers they've made. But understandably, I think that's going to take a little bit of time. Oxford, I don't know how to feel about them at the moment. They weren't great against Portsmouth, as you know, with their home form. I would have expected Oxford to get something there. And then I felt at Hull, they gave it a right good go, but to concede that late on is a little bit concerning. I really got to be honest. So I think this game just really heightens the importance of both sides trying to get a result. But for me, I think the momentum sways with Birmingham here with home advantage. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to the Blues. And with back-to-back wins, that should surely give them a good amount of contention to be in the top 6 in or around the international break period. Let me know what you think in the comments. I don't know about you guys, but this championship season is just confusing me. And Coventry is one of those sides that have confused me. They faced Queen's Park Rangers this weekend. To go from a 0-0 draw, not looking like that they were going to score in 2 weeks, and then next game they put 5 past Derby. Unbelievable attacking performance from Coventry, and they looked like that they were going to score each time they went forward. It was absolutely incredible. I do sense that some momentum can be passed on to this game against the Queen's Park Rangers side, which I think, again, like a couple of others, it's a very different team with new players coming in. I think it will take time before we do start seeing Queen's Park Rangers play at their very best. And Junior Stefan is clearly finding the challenges of trying to get that performance out of Queen's Park Rangers at the moment. As a prediction, I fancy Coventry here. I think with their momentum, the goals, I've now suddenly got a little bit more confidence of their forward line. So I think I'll go for a high scoring game here. I'm going to go for a 3-2 to Coventry. I'm going to be a bit brave and predict a 5-goal thriller. Because defensively, I've not been too impressed with Coventry so far. I think Queen's Park Rangers, if they are given their moments, they can take those chances. But I think it's more likely that Coventry will win this game. Next game, we are going to predict Norwich and Middlesbrough. I think this one's going to be quite an exciting one. Norwich have certainly shown that they are going to look really good going forward this season, and that was shown in their 2 quick-fire goals against Portsmouth last weekend, and showing their attacking quality and actually taking the game away from Portsmouth as well. But defensively, I'm still a little bit unconvinced. They conceded many chances against Portsmouth. Sekic did get one of the goals, but I think on another day, Portsmouth could have got a draw in that game. So good for Norwich to hold out to still get the win there, but certainly some work to do come near the end of the transfer window. Middlesbrough are one of the very few teams with a maximum start and back-to-back clean sheets. I was not expecting this from Middlesbrough, but they seem to have found a way to play, I'd say, a little bit negatively, you know, surrendering possession and being really defensive, but they have been so clinical with their chances, and that has been an issue with Middlesbrough last season where they weren't clinical. So I'm glad that Rod Edwards has addressed that concern and is now making Middlesbrough actually quite a bit more intimidating based on how good they've been defensively and how clinical they've been. Prediction, honestly, it really could go either way. But I'm going to play it safe and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think Norwich certainly could offer something going forward. But then it's a question of whether Middlesbrough could offer a surprise. It's a tough one, but I'll sit on the fence of this one. Next up is Preston going up against Ipswich. 2 very different results for both of these clubs last weekend. What a win this was for Preston. For them to pick up 4 points in the opening 2 games, I'm going to say in advance, I'm so sorry, Preston. I have put you down as 22nd in my table predictions. I'm a little bit nervous. I think they will survive as it stands. So, yeah, I've got to put my hands up and just say that I've completely underestimated how strong Preston were at home. And it showed last game against Leicester. They battered Leicester for large parts of the game and could have scored more for the 2 goals than they did. Ipswich, I've been backing them to lose in both of my predictions so far, and they've actually ended up exceeding my expectations and have picked up a point from their first 2 games. Now, in one part that is a positive, and another positive is I did see an improved performance from Ipswich against Southampton. I thought there was a lot more control in that midfield, and I actually think they did create better chances for what Southampton did. However, I think the advantage of playing Southampton, which is a team that have not finalised yet and could still lose players, I think now that opportunity's gone. And what I'm also seeing is an Ipswich side who have not won a game so far. They need 3 points, Ipswich, if they want to really feel this momentum going in their positive direction. But this is a tough game, as Leicester made it out to be. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. This will be Ipswich's 3rd 1-1 draw in a row. They're going to be officially the new Millwall, like drawing all of their games. And Preston, I mean, I think this will be a tougher challenge for Preston. I can't lie. I think Ipswich's defence is looking a lot more solid than Leicester's at the moment. Attack-wise, I debate whether if Leicester's is actually better than Ipswich's. Hence why I do think it won't be as open as it was against Leicester. But I do think both sides will have the ability to score. Let me know what you think in the comments. Next up is Sheffield United and Millwall. Both sides eager to get a result after a poor showing in their last game. But Sheffield United need a result full stop because they have lost all of their games in all cup competitions going into this stage. And there is certainly some quality there. We saw it with that amazing goal against Birmingham in the Carabao Cup, but this Sheffield United side, the balance is not fair. I think they can still score goals, but defensively they are absolutely shambolic. They're facing a Millwall side which was a pretty bizarre result against Middlesbrough. They lost by 3-0, which is a very unlike Millwall score, but I do think with context they did really well in the first half. Millwall probably should have scored at least 1 if not 2 goals, and I think had they taken those chances, I don't think Middlesbrough would have had the confidence to rally back in the way that they did. So I think into this game, I think the first goal is going to be very important for whichever side. Millwall were able to beat Sheffield United last time around at Bramall Lane, so could history repeat itself and it will be 3 Championship defeats in a row for Ruben Sellers? I'm going to say no. I'm actually going to say it's going to be a draw, a 1-1 draw. I'm debating on who I think will score first, but personally, I think based on the abilities and what's available for both sides, I think they'll play out a draw. Coming up next is Southampton versus Stoke. Now this is tough because I think squad-wise Southampton on individuals have the stronger squad, but this is Stoke we're talking about, who are top of the league. 6 points out of 6 and 6 goals already scored this season. Sorba Thomas, by the way, what a signing he's looking like he's turning out to be. I had a funny feeling that he will be good, but I think his absence away from the Championship gave me reservations whether he could do it. But oh my goodness me, Stoke look amazing at this moment of time, but this is a big test, and I think their next couple of games, Stoke, are against sides that are going to be fighting around playoffs or promotion. So these next couple of games I think are going to be very telling to see if Stoke should be considered in that group of teams. Southampton undoubtedly have got so many options. They weren't at their best against Ipswich, I felt. Stoke, I thought they were at their best against Sheffield Wednesday, although I don't think they really needed to be, unfortunately. What was impressive was their reaction from kickoff, because 2 of the goals from Stoke literally came within seconds after kickoff of each half. So this is something I think Southampton will have to be quite wary about. Prediction though, I'm struggling with this one. A draw wouldn't surprise me, but I've already predicted 3 1-1 draws in a row. I think I've got to be different. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Southampton. I do think that might be quite controversial with the fact that Stoke have won all their games so far. It will be close, but I think with the options that Southampton have, I think that could take them to 3 points. Our penultimate game sees West Brom going up against Portsmouth. So this is going to be John Swift returning to his former club, I've just remembered here. Interesting matchup. West Brom are another side who have won both of their games so far. Wins against Blackburn and Wrexham maybe don't sound extraordinary, but West Brom still got the job done, and Isaac Price is a big part of it. He's proven to be one of the more unexpected, unbelievable signings for the Championship this season. And if he's involved again, I think he will certainly be up there, you'd think, for Championship Player of the Month. Portsmouth, very mixed start. They won their away game against Oxford, great victory. And then at home, it was a tough one because they got punished by 2 very early quick goals. They did get themselves back into it, and actually prior to that, they missed a penalty as well. So I think Portsmouth showed decent fight against Norwich, but I just think the devastation of Norwich's attack just made that game way too difficult for Portsmouth to get back to. This game, I don't see as free-flowing as we have been. You know, West Brom were involved in a crazy 5-goal thriller against Wrexham, which in the end they did win. This time, I think West Brom will dictate play, and I think will make games a lot tighter. I think I'm going to go for 1-0 victory to West Brom. I think they are certainly the favourites with them being at home. It's just a question, can they limit Portsmouth to not scoring? It'll be difficult, but I think they've got the ability to. And our final game, ladies and gentlemen, is Wrexham versus Sheffield Wednesday. Both teams pointless at this moment in time with 2 defeats in a row. So I'm really glad that one of these teams is going to, or at least one of these teams is going to get off the mark after this game. Wrexham have shown they can score. There's no doubt about that. They have already scored 4 goals this season, averaging 2 goals a game, which I actually think is sort of meeting the expectations I had with their attack. It's their defence, though, that I'm a little bit worried with. They are linked to getting some defenders in. Someone like Callum Doyle, who has been involved with many Championship clubs in Leicester and Coventry. I think he will be a really good signing for Wrexham if they can pull this off. So that's the one weakness I could see Sheffield Wednesday exploiting, but their last game they were severely punished by 2 goals almost immediately from kickoff. So that does show a bit of a weakness of concentration for me, and I think if you don't concentrate against Wrexham, they will be out of sight at the racecourse. It will be absolutely buzzing, great atmosphere. Not really too impressed with both teams' defences, so I think it'll be a goal fest, you know. I'm going to go for a 3-2 victory to Wrexham. I'll go for another 5-goal thriller in the favour of Wrexham this time around. Despite no Josh Windass, they could have someone like Nathan Broadhead take his place, and ultimately they wouldn't complain too much, I wouldn't think. So I'm going to go for a narrow home win and a first Championship home win for Wrexham. Let me know what you think of the game in the comments. And there you have it, guys. That wraps up my predictions for week 3. If you agree with me, let me know in the comments. And if you guys want to get involved in the prediction league, you know what to do. Leave your predictions in the comments down below. If you can 50 likes would be a great achievement. If you could subscribe too, as we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers. And if you could share the channel too. All 3 of these things are free to do, and it takes little to 1 or 2 minutes to do all of that. It will really, really help the future of this channel. Okay, that was it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary. If you saw the end of this video, and as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.